Hello, my friends. It's Jen Pitto with By the Shore Stamping. Welcome into another edition of Teach Me Tuesday. I should really be keeping track of how many we've done. I know it's over 100, so we've been doing lots of Teach Me Tuesdays since 2016, I think, was my very first one at the end of the year. So thanks so much for sticking with me. And I'm excited today to share with you a technique called ghosting. I thought that would be appropriate for Halloween, and I don't think we've done it before. I'm getting to the point where I don't remember if I've done them anymore because it's, like I said, there's been over 100 of them. But anyway, I'm going to share a little technique called ghosting with you today, and I'm going to switch it up, I think, a little bit from my original, and we'll see how that works out. But I'm just going to test something because I'm seeing some, it's not really flaws, but I want to see if I can make this better than it was originally. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So if you look at this, you can see how there's like the double layer. So I've got a little white deer and the dark deer in front of it. So that's what we're going to do. It's called shadowing or ghosting. And so I'm going to do that, but I'm going to switch it up, like I said, just a little bit. All right, so let's start with our card base. We're going to do 8.5 by 5.5. And I'm going to fold that in half for a horizontal card. And I took a piece of the Toile Tidings designer series paper. Say that 5 times fast. It's 2.5 by 4.25. And I'm just going to attach that right to the side because I don't have to do anything to this. And you can see it's red on one side and green on the other. If you wanted a little pop of color, you could certainly use the red. But I'm going to go ahead and use the more of a monochromatic look on this. I wanted it to kind of look vintagey, so I'm going to go ahead and attach that there. And it looks like I missed a little bit, so let me trim that just so it doesn't show inside. Okay, so there we have that. I'm going to set that aside for a second. So what you're going to do first is you're going to take your Whisper white ink and your stamp. And it works best with kind of like a solid image stamp, so something that's not line art. So see how his body is all filled in? So you want something like that to do this kind of technique. So I thought this deer would be perfect. And you're going to take the deer and you're going to stamp him. You could stamp a repeating pattern all over the cardstock. I just did kind of a line of them across the cardstock, so you could do either. And you're going to stamp him across the cardstock with Whisper white ink. And you want to make sure your ink is fully inked. So you want a nice, crisp white image, and it needs to be somewhat dark because you want it to show through or show from behind. So I'm going to do it on a colored cardstock as well. I tried it on white and the ghosting didn't come out as well. You can see it a little bit. See, if you want a more muted ghosting, you can see it here. I did it on Whisper White with the pool party, but I decided I liked it better on the crumb cake. And I'm going to again, change something up a little bit to see if it works a little bit better this time around. So you're going to stamp that right across, and I'm not going to do it here in the video because you need to have time for the craft ink to dry, or you need to heat set it just because it needs to be fully dry when you're done. So I actually pre-stamped the little deer in the white, because the other reason why I didn't want to do that is because I want to stamp with the pigment ink. So that's why it doesn't dry right away, because it's pigment and not water-based. And then I have to clean off my stamp before I use it. And you don't want to put this on your chamois or your Stampin' Scrub if you're using Whisper White ink, because again, it's a pigment ink and it acts like paint. So it's going to kind of stain your chamois and or your Stampin' Scrub. So I just rinse it under the sink. So that was the other reason why I didn't want to do that here on camera. Now I'm going to take the Early Espresso ink and I'm going to stamp over those white images, and I'm gonna just stamp slightly off to the side because I don't want them directly over it. I want it to kind of shadow the deer that are already there. And in my sample, I stamped off with the deer using Early Espresso ink. This time I'm going to stamp directly from the ink pad to the deer, because if you notice, you can kind of see the white through here. So I'm going to try and eliminate that a little bit. And that's one of the changes that I'm making to this one. So let's go ahead and see how that works out. So I'm going to ink it up. Again, you want to make sure you got a nice inked image. You don't want any like fading or anything in there. And then I'm going to stamp it just off center from where I stamped the deer the first time. And because these are clear mount stamps, you can see that pretty well. There you go. I don't think that's going to show. It might show a little bit through, but I don't think it's going to show as much as the other one did. So I think I like it better already. All right, and then I'm going to do it again here. And I suppose you could use a little less white ink if you wanted to eliminate that shadow through it as well. But I like this nice bright contrast. One more time here. And I probably could get a little bit closer and be okay. There we go. So there you can see the difference. It is still showing a little bit through there, but I'm going to go ahead and let that dry for a second. Actually, I'll leave this out because I did a couple things first. I did stamp the greeting right under that. I'm going to grab some, where did that ribbon go? Oh, here it is. This is the ribbon that goes with the Toile Tidings suite. It is the Garden Green gross grain ribbon here, or the stitched gross grain ribbon. So I'm going to go ahead, and that's going to get wrapped around here. So I'm just using it for placement right now. I want it to kind of go right around there. So that means I need to stamp my greeting under there. So I'm going to do Early Espresso ink again. Just going to kind of leave that right there so I know where to stamp. And I'm probably going to do it right about there. Straight down, straight up. There we go. There's our greeting. I'm going to close this because that's just a disaster waiting to happen. And then I'm going to tie this. Actually, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to take Crumb Cake ink. And I just kind of distressed it a little bit. So I'm going to take Crumb Cake and a sponge. Blot it off a little bit. It's not super inky. And then I'm just going to kind of swirl some ink on here just to kind of distress it and reduce the contrast a little bit between them. Like I said, this ink pad's getting a little dry, so it's not a huge difference, but I just wanted to give it a little bit of a muted look. There we go. And it kind of reduces the contrast just a tiny bit. So I think that looks kind of cool. So there you go. You can see the difference there. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to tie a little knot in this. Where's my ribbon scissors? And we'll tie a knot off to the side here. And I just did a knot because I'm going to tie a little bow with the jingle bells because I like those too. All right, we'll trim this down like that, and then I'm going to tape this, which this measures 4 by 3 3/4, and I'm going to tape it down. You can see I had done it on the back too. I had missed slightly, so I tried to restamp it. It wasn't as solid as I wanted, and I tried to restamp it, and I missed, so it didn't line up exactly. So I stamped it again. I'm going to layer this onto my card, making sure that ribbon is straight before I do that. Okay. And then I'm going to attach this to the card front using some Stampin' Dimensionals. I found this, I think this must have been from a kit or a paper pumpkin or something. So I found these dimensionals here, so I'm just going to use those. Gimme. They're a little tiny bit thicker than the normal ones, but not too much. So they should work fine. And I do find that the backings are a little harder to come off sometimes with the kit dimensionals. Then I'm going to attach that right here. Okay, and then my last step was to grab the jingle bells. Again, you could do the gold ones. That would be cute too, actually. Or the red ones if you wanted a little pop of color, or the green ones. I think I might actually do the gold ones this time, because I think that's kind of cute too. And I had some left over. You can see just a tiny little bit of the Very Vanilla Baker's Twine. We don't sell the solid vanilla anymore, but since I have it and it matches perfectly, I'm going to use it. Otherwise, you could use the Crumb Cake. We have the linen thread, which is, which is Crumb Cake colored. And I love these jingle bells because we had some a few years ago. They were a little tinier than this, so that was good for like mailing stuff and what have you, but they were really, really hard to thread the even twine through. So these are really nice because you've got nice big threading holes for that. And I'm going to tie a knot first just to kind of get it secure. So I'm just going to tie it off to the side of that knot. And there we go. Now they're going to stay put, and I'm going to just tie a quick little bow like that. And fluff it up a little bit, make it look cute, and trim it off. And there you have it. Oh, there was one other thing I did on the original one. This looks like it's a little bit crooked. Whoops, that's not the whole thing. I don't know if I can fix it at this point. I think I can. There we go. All right. So the other thing I did on the original was I added some Wink of Stella to the deer. I'm not sure I want to do that this time, actually. I kind of like just the solid deer. What I might do is, where are those? They're packed in here for class, so hang on one second for me while I look for my red rhinestones. Okay, here they are. So I might just take one little red rhinestone and put it on the end. What do you think? I actually don't like it. Never mind. After all that, I don't like it because this is more vintagey and that would be more whimsical. So I think I'm just going to leave it just like that. What do you think? Do you like the Wink of Stella? I do definitely like the darker ink over it because it covers the white better. So there you go. My experiment was an improvement. All right, I think that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe if you enjoy my videos. It really makes me happy, and two, it helps push my videos out to more subscribers and to more people so more people can see them. So I would really appreciate that. Just hit the red subscribe button below this video and we will see you next week. Have a great week and we'll see you soon. Bye.